Yeah, but yeah, so Julie and Jackie, it's a great opportunity. Get to know you more, you get to know me more, share what we do for our clients. There's a lot of synergy I see. We serve the same target market, even though we may have a different offering. I think it still helps the people we serve be better at what they do. So in our own ways, we help enhance their lives. And so my name is Walter Murray. I'm the Managing Director at Leadership Solutions Training, LLC. We do just exactly what our name says. We do leadership training, and we have a unique perspective on how we do that. First, tell us where you're from.
Okay, so we're across the water to you, Walter.
Yeah.
Jackie and I are both based in the UK, and we're both based in the north of England. Jackie's in the lovely area of Cumbria, and I'm in Lancashire. Jackie's near the Lake District. We came together, just to give you a little bit of background, we came together because Jackie has 20 years experience as a mental health trauma therapist, and she came to rent a room in the therapy centre that both myself and my husband have. So that's how we connected, and we started to discuss stress and burnout and how we'd like to work together and help workplaces understand what causes stress and burnout and how we can prevent that. So that was the start of our journey, really, but we've kind of come a long way and have a lot of learning experiences since then. And like you put it so beautifully, Walter, there's such a synergy in what we offer, in that we're really looking at what is going on in the workplace and how we can support the right interventions, the right leadership training, because one size doesn't fit all, and we've certainly learned a lot more about that post-COVID, haven't we?
I think it's fair to add that, Julie and I wanted to be able to evidence that stress and burnout does exist and the impact it has, not just on the individual, but on the organisation as a whole. So we sought to work with the best partners to provide us so that we can provide our clients with real-time data. And we found that's really, really important, so that leadership can see what's happening, can understand the causation of the problems, and then we can target those with the appropriate solutions to the causation. Yeah,
and just an amazing connection is that, so while we teach leadership strategy and leadership skills, etc., the thing is, if a leader or manager is totally stressed out and totally burnt out, it doesn't matter what we teach them, right? The chances of it being implemented is very, very low, because they first have to deal with that stress and that burnout to be effective. So that's a real great connection. It's like what I teach makes no impact unless that person has been able to manage their stress and their burnout, right?
Yeah, absolutely, Walter. I always believe, in my private practice as a therapist and within business health, that, the first things first is always figure out what's causing the stresses in your life. Yeah. Otherwise, you can't solve a problem without identifying it. Yeah. Otherwise, you're just moving around in the dark and guessing it's this and guessing it's that and making assumptions. Yeah. And those assumptions can be absolutely costly to the individual and to the organisation. So let's understand what's going on, and then we can work with it.
Yeah. So who is your target market? So who's your ideal client or company that you work with?
Ideally, we have been working primarily with organisations that are kind of SMEs, top end, anywhere between 20 and 500 employees. That's kind of that's been our sweet spot up to now. We wanted to, in all honesty, we wanted to start out and get our systems in place so that we knew that we could cope with bigger organisations. And although we're quite a small team, we've got a bench of professionals that support us with larger projects. But we've been working primarily with professional services, in all honesty, Walter, that kind of professions, because my background is in finance, and that's what I understand. I understand the accountancy and the, you know, those legal worlds and data and IT, and that's kind of where I probably felt a bit in my comfort zone, you know. And so yeah, that's kind of our target area, really.
But, you know, Julia,
the small to mid-sized organization is kind of where your sweet spot is.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, Julie, you said something quite valuable there, talking about finance, and you're used to doing those things. I think one thing that we must not forget, and it's a hidden cost, and that is about well-being. And it's not always evidence on the KPIs and all those things, but it is a hidden cost. Organisations, if they're people who leadership or whoever are not functioning effectively, it is a hidden cost.
Yeah, it is a hidden cost, and sometimes not so hidden. Sometimes it's a pretty overbearing cost, because the cost of staff underperforming, right? And stress and burnout, I'm sure, probably contributes to underperformance. Yeah. So the cost of underperformance, you know, could be pretty high.
I think about, you know, Jackie and I came together because we both experienced burnout in the workplace for different reasons, and you know, we're different. Like Jackie's from a counselling background, but she did that in a professional environment. You know, I was in a finance role, and you reflect, don't you? When you know you're going to have these conversations, you're reflecting on what the burnout experience was, and I think although it's very topical at the moment, everybody's talking about stress and burnout and mental health and well-being in the workplace, and it's all very much bandied about, isn't it? But I think still we're quite reluctant, aren't we, to look at ourselves and go, actually, you know, I am not managing as well as I could have been, or I know I'm on the burnout, but if you don't know, you know, I didn't know what burnout was until I experienced it, and then you realise and you think you don't want to go back there. But it was only when Jackie and I started to work together that you actually realise what the factors are that underpin burnout. But what I'm trying to say is it's about looking at yourself and your people around you and think, are they changing? You know, are they not as prompt as they were? Are they communicating differently? Do they look differently? Or are they not got the same enthusiasm? And I think, reflecting on my own experience, I could tell myself that I struggled with completion. You know, completion of projects. I struggled with possibly hearing people in the same way, because I just kind of became more myopic. Myopic, to try and block the noise out, to try and focus on what I was doing. And you reflecting on that, you can't always see it when you're in it. I think what Jackie and I are trying to do is highlight to people, you know, it's very bandied about, but people don't always want to admit it to themselves, or see that it's in their leadership, because we've got this ideology that leadership should be strong, they should be able to deal with anything and crack on, and it's but we're all humans.
It's somewhat of a fantasy, I think, because a lot of times a leader has to fit this mold of being strong, but to admit that they are suffering stress and burnout is an admission of weakness that doesn't fit the image that leaders try to portray. But hey, listen, before we go to the next, before we go any further, you didn't get a chance to tell us the name of your business and all that kind of stuff. So just so people know, I see it on the background, but just go ahead and tell us.
We get carried away with our enthusiasm for what we do, Walter. So yes, I'm Jackie Connaughton, and I'm one of the co-founders with Julie and director of Business Health Institute.
I'm Julie Blinkho, and as Jackie said, I'm one of the co-founders of Business Health Institute. As I said earlier, we established the business to help organisations understand exactly what's going on in the workplace. So we take it's almost a two-pronged approach. We look at performance, we look at what's going on and what tweaks need to be made in various areas, because I'm sure, you know, this is where we kind of dovetail, Walter, with our practices. When you go into an organisation, marketing may not need the same solution as sales or finance. So we are highlighting that information, and then you can go in and deliver the right level of training or intervention in that particular area, and that makes the difference, because you're then remeasuring that the difference that making to the performance, and we're supporting the individuals as well alongside that. So we're helping them, you know, maximize their output. So